for the shade, can't stop my light. MCM fit the body up nice. All black men's making man look twice. Self-love. Dope stay blessed and I think up above. Your ear this, she thinks she the shit. Post take a flick. Yes, I'm full of it.
And we're live.
Hello.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to the ProMama Podcast. My name is Felicia Johnson, and if you can't tell, I am super excited because this is episode 1 of hopefully many, many more of the ProMama Podcast. I want to say my friend and guest for today, Nykia Spradley. I want to first start off by thanking her for diving in with me into this adventure of creativity and being my very first guest. Thank you so much.
I am honored that you asked me to be your first guest. Excited for this and excited to see this all come to life.
Thank you so much. Now, I did start off by saying she's my friend, but let's get it real. Like, she ain't no slouch. She's a journalist, content strategist. She has her names on things. I often love opening my latest publication or watching my favorite brand and seeing her come across my screen or seeing her name in print. Can you give us your ProMama stats? Let's start off by telling us about your ProMama lifestyle, how many children you have, the age, and then tell us about what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I am I'm a mom of a son. He is 12. He'll be 13 this year, which is so crazy. Really crazy. So I'm just trying to soak up these last few months of preteen, in his mind, childhood, because he feels like as soon as he turns 13, it's like a completely different
switch.
Yeah, switch. But yeah, so that's me as my personal world. Professionally, I am a journalist. I've been a journalist since college. Like it's what I studied, and I have moved into content strategy. I've written for a bunch of publications, mostly in the beauty, lifestyle, fashion spaces, and I've also done consulting, copywriting, a little bit of everything in the creative world, and both full-time and in a freelance capacity.
I love that. So Nykia and I both went to Hofstra University, and at that time I was studying journalism. So she was where I wanted to be and still am to this day. I've had the privilege of watching your career pre-motherhood, and I was able to observe from the outside the different shifts and the different transitions. Do you want to share, like, how did motherhood change how you approach your career?
Yeah, so I'm a Capricorn, and so I am like very work focused most of the time. Like even in every area of my life, like even as a mom, like I take a very like work office approach, and I'm also like very traditional in a lot of ways, just in terms of like having like a set, career path and like being on a certain schedule and, all of the like more structured things that I think have shifted a lot, that tend to shift a lot once you become a parent. I've always kind of approached my career that way. And so, I would like pre kids, I would just like grind away at work. Like, it was my primary focus. I worked full time pretty much up until my son was 3. And then, 3 or 4, I would say. He was 4 at the time, when I just decided to try my hand at freelancing. And it was scary, but I felt like I just remember being in my full-time role at the time, and I would like drag him to the office with me on like days that I couldn't, that he wasn't in school or at that time, like, what was that, preschool, I guess. But whenever I didn't have like childcare, I would drag him to the office with me.
I love that.
And it was like, he loved it. I loved it. It was stressful. It was a lot, like
I'm sure.
basically like unproductive days in, in the office, but it was a great time, but also just kind of made me feel like, I wanted to take advantage of the time has gone so fast. And I feel like at that time it was feeling like it was moving a lot faster than I anticipated. So I wanted to really just have the time to spend with him in a different way. And even if it meant like picking him up from school and taking him, dropping him off in the morning, like those things that you kind of like take for granted, wanted to put myself in a space where I could do that more consistently. So I left my full-time job.
Scary.
Scary, super scary. But I also feel like at the time it was less scary than it would be now. Like I don't know that I would do that now. But at the time, it felt like it could work. It felt like it could work, and it did. I feel like because so many people were like, it wasn't really a thing like for people to be freelancers. There were a handful of people who did it consistently, especially in the media business. But there was an opportunity there, I would say, for me to do it and for it to be sustainable. And it's honestly one of the best decisions that I made. And my goal of being able to be more present and spend more time with my child who was just getting his educational journey started and
Yeah.
all of that, like that gave me the opportunity to do that, which I'm really
You dropped so many gems and so many nuggets, and I feel bad that I'm not taking notes, but some things that stood out to me. So you talked about in the early years bringing your son into the office, right? How did you prepare your team, your colleagues into this transition from you being, I don't want to say workhorse, but being a person who worked nonstop to you now shifting to like adjusting to having you come into work and adjust to your new life?
Yeah. It's funny. Recently, like within the last month, I like ran into an old colleague who worked with me at that job at the time. And she has a child now. And she was
Hmm.
telling me she was like, I remember when you used to bring Cam into the office. And she was like, I was a baby. Like it was like so crazy to me that like somebody had a
Well, she
child.
got her child up in here.
Yeah, she was like, it was just like so fascinating to me that like you had a kid and that you would bring him into the office and stuff. And she's like, now that I have my own child, and I think her child is like not that far. Like he's like maybe like a couple of years younger than Cam. She's like I completely get it now. Like it's crazy. But and that was the case for a lot of my team at the time. They were all like really young.
Yeah.
They were just like not even in the phase of life where they're like thinking about kids or families. And so to them, it was like fun. Like they'd be like, oh, we have somebody to play to,
To entertain.
right, to distract us from doing work all day. And, it's funny because a lot of people, when I like run into to old colleagues, they remember Kim that age and they're like, oh my God, I
Oh my
can't
God.
seeing like he was literally like 4 when you would bring him into the office. But, I felt like it was also important for the team to see that like you can still get work done, you can still be successful, you can still have a family, and you don't have to like pour every bit of your energy into work and a job and compromise or sacrifice rather a family and having kids. And some people, that's what they prefer. They prefer to just put all their efforts into their careers and their job, but that's never really been my goal. Like I want to be successful in my career. I want to, move in whatever way that means, but I don't think that it should come at the cost of like, a family, if that's what
Having a family.
you
Yeah, I love that, especially because I feel like folks, sometimes you're afraid of showing up in the workplace
yeah.
as a mother.
Yeah.
And I love the mothers who show up unapologetically, like, yeah, my kid is here. Like,
Yeah.
I'll usually, when I do bring my children to the office, I'm like trying to hide them. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
usually my leadership, like, oh no, bring them out, bring them to
Yeah.
the meeting. They need to know, like, bring them on in. And it's different people and having a supportive environment like that, that just lessens the burden of feeling like, oh, okay, this is not something I should be ashamed of or I have to hide or
Exactly.
something I should encourage. Like, these are moments like your children will remember. Like, I think about
Yeah.
that for myself. I remember going to work I remember going to school with my mom. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
going to
I
college with
used to
my
go to
mom.
school every day. I go to my mom's job every day after work.
After
Like, it was
Yeah,
like
I
it
had a
was
colleague
like
the
that was
same.
the pickup, like that was the pick the after school
After school, yep.
activity was my
So
mom.
I know a lot of my colleagues pick schools maybe close to work, so
Yeah,
their children can still
yeah,
walk to their parents' job and wait the additional 2-3 hours because education work schedules have not
right,
aligned yet in all
right,
these years. So you
exactly.
have
Yeah,
children coming out of school at 3:30, and people working till 5:30.
yeah,
There's a gap. So it's
yeah.
great to have environments where we can bring in our family to transition and it not be so taboo.
Yeah, yeah. I do think though that like as my son has gotten older, it's kind of created a new like insecurity for me in the work.
Mm.
More so because the industry that I'm in can be like very ageist. So like as he gets older, I'm like, oh man, people are gonna be like, you have a teenager?
Yeah, but you look
What?
you
What
look
are you
younger than most of them.
And so that's kind of created its own thing that I'm trying to like push through. Whereas like, when he was little, it was like, okay, what people just like,
He's an accessory. You're like, oh, I got a
yeah,
kid.
exactly. So
Now
now,
he's your size and he's walking next to him. They're
yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
so he's this age and this size. How old
Right.
are you?
Right, exactly. So I'm trying to navigate that as I like, move forward in my career. But it's a little bit different now because I am, essentially kind of like working for myself. That like helps. I can kind of manage that. But to your point, like I do feel like, there have been times when like I've been reluctant to like tell people like, oh yeah, I have a kid because I don't want them to think that it like will impact how I can do my job because that to me is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just thinking, like, I think about microaggressions we like face as women of color. Then I think about the mom microaggressions, like, you
Yeah.
really a am?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
what?
Yeah, that is a
Yeah, I
thing.
am.
That is really a thing. It's really a thing. And, like I was saying with people, some people prioritize their careers and they can't even wrap their head around. But honestly, like being a mom and being a working mom is like, it's requires more skill than anybody who just solely focuses on their career.
Amen.
Can do that. You can't tell me that you sacrificing having a family to for your career is any more like makes you any more skilled or like proficient in whatever the job is,
Yeah.
because if you can multitask having a child and working a full-time job, like you can literally do any job. And
Oh,
I
I
think
tell people it's project management. Like, oh, I'm a project manager. I'm a
exactly,
good project manager at work because I'm an exceptional project manager at
exactly,
home. Like,
exactly.
how I navigate the logistics, everything I do, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm honing in those skills.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, I know I do this, and people around me notice, is that I tend to overcompensate because I do feel that guilt of like, oh, I left early, so let me get logged back on and
Oh,
work
yeah.
additional hours, or let me be on this email. I'm fighting that,
Yeah.
but I think it's to prove that, like, even though I am a mom, I am always producing good work, I am reliable. Like, I take more sick days for my kid than myself.
Right,
Like,
right. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
something that I'm working through, and I do think it's because of the culture. Like, we get villainized all the
Yeah.
time. So it's
Absolutely.
like we're trying to pick and choose our battles, but it's something that we just have to wrestle with. And when we normalize things,
Mhm.
then because I remember I had someone on my leadership team who also had children the same age, and I love that. Her children were also in independent school, so their schedule matched my children's schedule. So
So
when
it's
she's like, I'm remote for the next 2 weeks, and I was like, actually, can I be remote too? It
yeah,
wasn't a thing because she
yeah.
understood why.
Mhm.
And you talked about having like being in a workforce where maybe the folks don't understand because it's not in their they're not in the stage of their lives where they have children or understand. I remember like explaining to my current supervisor, like, yeah, so my kids have this, and he was like, why would they schedule something at 2 p.m.? Like, why is there a
Yeah.
conference at 9? I'm like, they do not care that I
No,
have a
they
job.
don't. They don't. That's their job. Like they're
Their
trying.
job,
Yeah.
yes. And I get it. I don't want teachers to have to stay late to meet with
Right.
me.
Right.
But I
Exactly.
remember growing up, parent teachers conferences were at night. So
Yeah. Yeah.
parents could come in after work. Now they're like, figure it out. Like, You gotta miss work. We could Zoom. We could do something. Good for them for having their boundaries, but it's just another thing for parents, another thing to juggle. So I constantly have to remind myself this lifestyle is not normal.
Right.
Even though we make it look easy because we do it every day, it's just like the amount of things we have to juggle and the logistics of it all. Like, I want to go through the logistics of one day. Like, I drop my kid I live in Sunset. My kids are in Brooklyn Heights. My school is in the village. My work is in the village, and I have to go back to Sunset and go back. I'll leave work. Like, my colleagues will text me, like, say I leave work at 4:30 and they're texting me at like 5:30, like, yeah, I got home, I cooked. I'm like, I still haven't made it home yet. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, because I still have to pick up a kid, pick up groceries, get the book from the library. I'm still not home till like 3 hours from when I left my house.
Yeah.
And it's just like mind blown. And it's like, yeah. Whenever I leave work, I'm like, I go into my second shift. Like,
Yeah,
but by the
exactly.
time I come into work looking drained and like I want, like, it's lunchtime.
It
By the
is.
time I got to work, I've been there since 5:30. When I get into the office at 9:30, at this point, I need a break.
Yeah, that's
It's
why I
lunchtime.
feel like the going back, I can't even remember how I did
No,
it
don't.
like whole time because
Yeah.
that was crazy. And my child at the time was like very small. So it was, he's like dragging. It was like
Yeah.
it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. But it really hasn't gotten much easier.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, like, since he's older, people assume like, oh, you got a big kid, so like, how hard can
Yeah.
it be?
I mean, it comes with its own challenges. Like on one hand, it's this is the first school year that he started going to school by himself, but it's still terrifying. I still get up,
Yeah.
I still make him breakfast, I still walk him to the bus, I wait for the bus to come, put him on the bus, and then I can get my day started. But it's terrifying. It's very scary. And then, I knew it was gonna happen, but like as soon as it got cold, he's like, "Can you pick me up?"
Can you take me to school? Yeah.
And
So,
which is fine.
because you're like, all right, a
Yeah,
small
I'm
luxury every now and again.
it's so few and far between. Now I'm like, okay, I guess if you want me to pick you up, I'll come get you. But yeah, I still have to do all the same things, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's great having the glimmer of hope the more independent they
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
But thinking about, I wanted to touch on your freelance schedule and how that impacts how you manage your household, because you don't have a consistent work schedule.
No.
Every week or every day doesn't
Yeah.
look the same.
Yeah.
How do
No,
you make that work?
honestly, I feel like I work more than I did when I was in a full-time job. When you're in a full-time job, you have a heart out. You got to be out,
Mhm.
pick up the kids or whatever, get dinner going. And it was rare that I would like hop back on work because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just be back at it tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
So whatever I get done today, that's it. But now there's like, for one, I have a problem saying no to things. So I'm like constantly like, sure, I'll take on this project, I'll take on that. And like I like always have like a full slate, like always have like my plate is full. And so I find that, I'll like do my daily routine
Mhm.
as a mom and then I'll log back on. Like as soon as I put my son to bed, even though he's going to bed at like 10 now, his
Now,
is like push back, I'm still getting on work. I'm like still like, okay, now's the time. Let me finish up whatever I have to finish up. And I'm going to bed super late and then getting up and doing it all over again. I probably can manage my time a little bit better during the day, but I feel like I need to make the most of the time when he's at school to do other things.
other things.
Like, as soon as I drop him at the bus, I'll go work out or whatever. And then I'll hop on work. I'll get my work done. But the time in the day just like zooms
It's not
by.
enough.
He's home. And then I'm like, okay, I'll try to do some work while he does his homework, just to make the most of that time. But it just feels like I'm never off. Like I feel like I'm constantly like
Always on.
always on.
He's
Yeah.
older now, but what I experienced with my littles, they're 10 and 7, is that they get annoyed when I'm still working. They're like, you got off and you back on your
Yeah.
computer? Do you
Yeah.
experience that?
Yeah. He's kind of like now. He definitely, I feel like around that age, he was more aware of it, and he would tell me all the time, like, "Why are you always working? Like, you're
Always working.
constantly working, like, like, you don't have to," and I'm like, "No, I do. I do have to. Like, all of the stuff that you asked me for, like,
Bringing the bacon, making the bacon.
I'm like, that has to come from something, and this is
Mhm.
why I
That's
do this
why.
so that you can have that."
Absolutely.
But it's just, that's hard for a kid to
That's a
really, like,
kid.
wrap their head around, but, yes, he's definitely been like, "You work too much, you work too much, like, you need to stop, like, turn it off, you need to go to bed, you're gonna," and even when I tell him, like, "Oh, I need you to get to bed on time because I have stuff to do," he's
You're like,
like,
"You're up. You're not going to bed." Yep, the same. I try to get my kids off of technology, and they're like, "You have your phone out at the
"Yeah,
dinner table. You got your." I'm like, "You see this? These are called emails. These are how the bills get paid. I have to do this. I
yeah,
have to do."
that's a tricky part too because, like, I feel like now most just for my job is
They
completely
can
separate.
access.
Now, my news source is social media now, for the most part, and so I can't say, "Oh, I mean, I can tell him he can't be on certain social media apps, but it's, like, very hypocritical, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"You've been on
He's
your,"
like, "How bad could it be? It pays the bills."
and I'm literally like, just as soon as I wake up, I'm on my phone. So I'm trying to just be more aware of that. Like if we like set, usually we'll like, okay, let's watch something while we eat dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be on my phone because he notices and he's called me out on it like
Yep.
multiple times. Like, what you're supposed to be watching, like why are you on your phone? And I'm like,
Yes. You're like, "Oh, my bad." You're like,
but so yeah, so I'm trying to just be very mindful of that, but we've also kind of as he's gotten older, just instilled little habits that he sticks to and he's good. He's very sort of self-disciplined, I guess, when it comes to like social media. Like
mhm.
gives me his phone every night before he
Oh my
goes to
god.
bed.
I can't believe he's even on social media. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother episode for a whole nother. Yeah, don't record. You can't record what you do because he can find the internet's real. He can find this. Well, actually, that's my other question. Being now that he's older, he's on social media, does he know you're a big deal? Like, when did
No,
a
he
kid?
doesn't really know. I
Oh
randomly
my
go up to it.
gosh!
It's like I don't even know if I would consider myself a big deal, but like
You are. Oh, wait, wait, we got time out. Mamas, we gotta call ourselves big deals, and you are essentially a big deal. I mean, he has even graced publications in his young age. So, like, he needs to know he's a big deal, but it's because his pro mama is a big deal. So I do have an area where I want to call my pro mama essentials, where I want to share some tips and tricks. But before I go into that, I do want to get into something that I know a lot of moms struggle with is mom guilt. Have you ever experienced that, whether early in your career, now, and how do you combat it?
I definitely have, just going back to me having an issue like turning off. I think that has definitely brought about a lot of guilt just time-wise, like I feel like I'll kind of rush things so that I can get back to work or like, be on my phone because I'm like locked in on whatever is going on social and like,
Yeah.
not really soaking up the time that my son wants to spend with me. So I feel like I've definitely have had those moments, but I try not to be too hard on myself about it. Like I'm like everything is about balance, trying my best to balance it in a way that he doesn't really notice the impact of like me being stuck to my phone, but that definitely has come up at times. I do think that my decision to go freelance and just kind of be more present at home sort of quelled that guilt a lot because I felt like I was being intentional about being home and being in a position where I can you know, go to all the school middle of the day things, which I think he notices it like, wow, like, only 5 parents were able to come.
Come to this thing. Yeah. I remember one time, one of my son's classroom was like, "Your mom works for the school, right?" I'm like,
Because you're there, you're like, hell.
"Share event." So every school event, I was there. He was like, "Your mom works here, right?" I'm like,
No.
Imagine the time. Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm here so much. Your classmates
Yeah. That
work here.
self for like mm, prioritizing other things.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah, I think more so like less like career wise. I think more personal time. I felt bad about.
Yeah.
Like, like send him to my parents, force him to do a sleepover. My parent, which is his grandparents, he loves it, but still, like sometimes he just wants to be home. He wants to be up under me. And that's made me feel guilty. But I'm like, no, I just really need like a day to like chill. Like I really
Reset.
need you to go spend time with your grandparents because I just need like some time to like not be thinking about somebody else. Like
Yeah.
I really do.
It's crazy because, like, that's another thing with having a career and being a parent. Whenever you wanna add something else, it
Yeah.
takes away. So, like, for
Yeah.
example, I work events, so there's many evenings that my children are with my mom because I am working. But
Mhm.
then the evenings that I wanna do something social, it's like, I don't wanna do another night of something
Yeah.
late night because I've been out for 3
Yeah.
nights. Those
Yeah.
were for work, but now it's happy hour or someone's
Yeah.
birthday. It's like, or it's like, I wanna take the time to, like, sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just wanna sit in the couch. Like, not
I just wanna
not
sleep.
have to think about a meal for somebody else
Mhm.
or whatever, like, all of those things. I wanna go, like, just roam the store for, like, hours and not be like,
By
"Okay,
yourself.
how can we do
I went to IKEA. My kids were away for the last week of the year. I went to IKEA. I was
what?"
strolling.
Rolling, I know. Yes, like, these are times that, like, I'm like, I really but, then there's been, like where the guilt comes in is, there have
Seeing
been
other kids.
times where, like, I've been out, like, just enjoying my Saturday night, and my son's at my parents' house, and he's like, "Oh, I really wanna go home, I really wanna go home," and he's calling me nonstop.
Oof.
Look at him, and my parents are like, "You can't do that," like, they're
Oh
like
my goodness, this happened recently to
yeah, they're
me.
like,
I was at
You'll be
yes,
fine,
I
you'll be
was at
fine," and I'm like, "No, but"
yes.
he really just wants to come home, so fine, I'll, like, cut my night short or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I was with another mom over the summer, and we were on a trip together, and the kids were, like, sleeping at another house, and her son called. It was literally, like, 1 in the
Middle of
morning,
the night.
and her son called. It was like, "I really wanna go back to where we were staying," and she was like, "I'll be there," and then she said the same, and she was like, "If he says that he doesn't
Needs it. Yeah.
gonna go and get him," and I was like, "I completely get that." Like, I completely get that. It definitely, like, I feel like there is some, like, guilt built
Mhm.
in there, but,
Yes,
it's
and because you also want your children to feel that you're safe, and we tell
yeah,
them, "Call us for anything," and,
exactly.
that didn't sound like an emergency, but he just generally
Yeah,
didn't wanna be there.
right, yeah,
That happened to me recently, and I was at an event that I was looking forward to. I drove almost an hour and a half to. I got there, I was having a great time, and my daughter was just she had texted me earlier in the day saying she wanted to be home. And I
yeah,
was trying to manage
yeah,
remotely through text but by the time I got to where I was at, she was just like over it.
yeah,
And I couldn't in good faith have a good time.
yeah, exactly,
And
exactly.
everybody else there, even some moms were like, "I should get over it." And I'm like, "Sure." But I also want this to be a lesson to her. Like, if you call me in
And you tell
distress,
me
your
yes,
mom is coming.
exactly.
And, even when I got there, she felt guilty. Like, you left your friends. I'm like, yeah, but you sounded really sad. You were
Yeah,
crying. Like, these are the reasons why I want you to know I'm going to show up for you.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
want you to troubleshoot on your own. But no, if you tell your kids, call me at any time. When they get teenagers, it's like, I don't care if you're drunk or in trouble, still call me. I'll
fair.
pick you up. You
Yep,
have to show them signs of that from now.
yes,
Like,
yeah.
my mom said to call her at any time, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
legit
I mean,
call
you
her.
definitely have to like build in the okay, this is literally like it has to really be
Yeah,
you have
don't
to
cry
have
wolf.
knowledge of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, don't cry wolf.
Don't call me every time I'm out. Like you want to go home.
Yeah, they'll weaponize it. They will
Yeah.
weaponize it. But we have to use our discernment and kind of like understand, even like the tone or or like even taking different things into consideration. Like, damn, they have been at my mom's for the past 3 days.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
maybe yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I try to think about that. But I do feel like as my son's gotten older, I think he's like a little bit more understanding of me needing some time. So he's a lot less pushback than he gave even like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Year ago, he'd be like, "No, please, like I just want to be home. I just want to chill."
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah. And I'm to the point now, thankfully, where like I can leave him home for like a little bit of
Game
time.
changer.
Complete game changer, complete game changer.
I'll
But
be
even
there.
that,
I'll be
I
there
don't
soon.
really like to do because I don't want him to feel like a latchkey
Latchkey
kid.
kids. I mean, latchkey kids grew up to be really
I
good
mean,
people.
you can just
Well, I know we don't hear it often, but I just want to say you're an amazing mom. You have an
feel
amazing kid that is just a true testament of like the sacrifices you make and continue to make. And it is not an easy job. I know it is a thankless job many, many times. We
yeah,
get our few
you
holidays
get
here
your
and
reward.
there. You get the rewards. Or just seeing them excel in different places. It's like, oh man, I did that. But just want to say, like, I recognize it all. I recognize how hard it is. I recognize what transitions look like, the difficult decisions that have to be made daily, even the small ones from like
Yeah,
what cough medicines you use. Like everything is a decision that you
yeah,
have to make.
yeah.
And nobody ever asks anything else but where was the mother? What did the mother like? So yeah. So thank you, thank you. We're gonna close off with our Pro Mama Essentials. So and you can do it in whatever order. I want you to give me a Pro Mama tip, your favorite self-care act, and your non-negotiable.
Okay. Pro mama tip, I would say to trust your child. I think that that's like a big one. I think that, just like it's easy to kind of try to instill your own generational things on your kids, but trust that that you're giving them exactly what they need to be their own individual self and let them kind of be who they are. And I think that'll go a long way just in terms of your direct relationship with them and just who they become as adults and young adults. Okay.
What is your self-care act? Your act of self-care?
So my act of self-care honestly is sleeping whenever I can.
Yes, the
I
rest.
I rest. I rest. That's it. Like I don't feel like I'm not a morning person at all. Unless I need to be. But people are like, "Oh, you could have got so much done if you got up." I'm like,
No,
if I could sleep till 10 o'clock, I will sleep till 10
do
o'clock.
it. So is that your non-negotiable or do you have another non-negotiable?
My non-negotiable, uh hmm. I mean, it could be. It definitely could be. I feel like it's something that's more of like a
I need
luxury. Yeah, it's like it's not something that I'm like I can always just be steadfast on. But I would say, I don't know. I don't
like
know.
in terms of work-life balance, because the other thing is, does
Okay.
that even
Okay.
exist? Like, what is a non-negotiable? Like, not working on weekends or holidays or
So I would definitely say like contact me after hours. Like, and even though I'm freelance, I feel like, emails,
respect it.
things or like respecting the time boundaries. I personally don't do that even if someone doesn't have a child. Like I just feel like that is something that just that to me is a
Yeah,
non-negotiable.
it's a pet peeve.
It is a major pet peeve. Like don't hit me after hours. Queue up the email for the next
Queue
morning.
it up. I had to tell one of my colleagues, I was like, I think he just wants people to know that
He's
he's doing
on.
work at 2 a.m. Like, just queue it up.
No.
Nobody's looking.
No, I've done that, like, if I have, like let's say, like, I have a deadline that I'm, like, late on and, like, it's due this day, but it's, like,
Yeah,
7 o'clock. I'll queue it up and tell the person, like, "We didn't wanna hit you late last night, but
right.
this is," and I expect the same level of, like,
Yeah, just be
respect.
courteous. Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
did it. It's in the
Yes, yes.
books. This is like a vision that I'm seeing through and it's
I love it. I love
materializing.
it. I love it.
I thank you for that. I like bombarded you like you're
No.
gonna be a guest on my podcast. You're like, oh,
Like,
come on now.
well, we got to
What is
but I
said
got
podcast?
to Yeah, I really just can't wait to see this take off. And I appreciate you having me as your first guest. And, I know you may have some like things to work out. So if you need to like redo anything, let me know.
Will do.
This is
Well,
great. This is
we're gonna have you come back just so we can be like, we're better now. We
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah, exactly,
remember
exactly.
remember when your mic was muted and you could not figure out audio? But it's okay. It's all good. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.